All right, let's watch Inside Star Citizen, titled SAN'TALK.YALL. I think that's a reference to the Siege of Orison, right? So interesting, but I've heard some things that this was like a super weird episode, like totally different. Hopefully it's for the better. Let's see. I have not seen it yet, so let's check it out.
Hey everyone, it's Alien Week, that yearly celebration of all things Vanduul, Tavaran, Xi'an, and Banu.
Don't forget to say Kurthak. Don't forget to say Kurthak. Don't
I mean, do the Kurthak even really exist?
forget to say Kurthak.
And to celebrate here on ISC, we thought we'd check in with members of the ship team currently working on the latest Xi'an fighter, the SAN'TALK.YALL. SAN'TALK.YALL. It's pronounced
Whatever.
just like it's spelled. But because we just got off 2 weeks of ship segments with Invictus just a few weeks ago, I figured we'd do things a little different this week and call Vehicle Art Director Elwin Batchelor Jr. and Lead Designer Stephen Hosmer directly in a special Calling All Devs edition of Inside Star Citizen.
Oh my God,
Because-
Calling All Devs is back?
That's just how I roll sometimes. Now, I understand we
I thought Calling All
already
Devs
have
was
them on
great.
the line. Yes? Great. So, Elwin, Hosmer, why don't you give us an update on where we're currently at with the SAN'TALK.YALL?
Real talk, we just failed our gray box review. That's real talk for you.
So where we're at with the SAN'TALK.YALL right now is we just went through our review gate for Greybox, which we failed. And it's
I'm assuming they'll talk about it. I wonder what failing a gray box review means. Is it just like, Chris, what do you think? No, make it again. You know?
not catastrophic. The main reason for that is because we haven't quite figured out how we're going to be doing and designing the cockpit dashboard yet. All of the exterior has been basically gray box modeled out. We have the majority of the animations finished. I'm actually currently repolishing the landing animation and in-flight animation and a couple of other really cool things that we haven't shown before.
Okay.
But yeah, the bulk of the geometry has been modeled out.
I mean, it
and
looks
we're
like
about to get ready to.
It looks like the concept art, so I don't know what the issue would be there. It does sound exactly like what he said. It's a cockpit thing. I have not flown the Scout in forever. The cockpit was like obviously unique, but it also wasn't the best. So
Start doing material work and palms and all that good stuff to make it look beautiful, but unfortunately we can't quite move on to that stage yet until we really nail down what it is that we're going to be doing with the dashboard.
I mean, that's part of the process. We want to make sure that everything is dotted and crossed. What's the expression? I don't know.
You mean cross your eyes and dot your T's.
Cross your T's or dot your I's. There you go. We want to cross our T's and dot our I's.
I need to run this back a bit. Tell us that failing gray box is a semi-normal thing.
It isn't the most common thing that happens. I would say it happens less than 50% of the time. I don't have exact metrics for that, but in this case, it's just there's a lot going on right now that we're working on in the background, and we weren't able to get the level of support that we were hoping to get in order.
that is a common theme, right? That right there. If you want to take anything away from this ISC, which is likely a lot of fluff to sell a lot of ships, that is the theme. No, it's not that it's someone else's fault or anything like that. I think the focus is not where these guys are on these things. And when you need support, they're out supporting something that has more of a priority that we don't get to play, which is Squadron 42. It would be my guess. You're just hearing that a lot from people. I mean, we had Elliot pop in and say, "Hey, sorry, the fixes to one of those missions you guys like didn't have the time to get it in." Maybe I don't think that has anything to do with Squadron 42, but at the same time, you're sitting here going like, when is the priority going to be the people who fund the game? That would be sick, dude. That would be sick if we were the priority,
To really iron out the plans for this specific asset. But
I almost want Squadron
it happens
42
from
out
time to
just
time. It's
for that.
We know exactly why it failed. Everything else on the ship works. This is just one very specific issue that we have to deal with.
Oh,
To be fair to this guy, there really wasn't a deadline. You don't think Alien Week was a deadline? You know? You don't think Alien Week for the SAN'TALK.YALL was a deadline? They worked on it exactly at this time to release this ship now. There's no way.
we fail them all the
It's all
time.
good, Elliot.
Basically, there's something that's always just, needs to get fixed or pointed out. And what we do usually is we'll, afterwards, we'll post videos, post screenshots, and be like, hey, here's this thing that was wrong. We fixed it. Can we pass now? Do we have to have another meeting? We might have to have it run through it again. But usually it's just minor things.
100%. Yeah. I mean, and we almost got the pass, but it's just there's too many unknowns from a visual standpoint to really move forward in a comfortable way. So it worked. The review gate worked. It blocked us from putting in something that's unfinished, basically. But we tried.
Okay.
We should have probably rescheduled it because we knew that was going to be missing and there was no way we would have the time to get it in on time. But hey, man, sometimes you got to see what you can get away with and realize you can't, and then go back to the drawing board.
Don't say drawing board.
Well, it's not the drawing board. That's true. We're not going back to the drawing board, but we do have quite a bit of design work that we have to establish. What will be cool, though, is we do have a few ideas already for what we want to do. Hopefully it doesn't take us more than
I mean, why not say drawing board? It sounds like it's sort of that in terms of the cockpit. Hey, they didn't like it or they need to change some things. It's not that big of a deal. I don't know.
week and a half to establish a direction, and then another week and a half after that to actually actualize the asset. But it'll be nice because this will then establish the look and feel for Alpoa specifically, right? Because we do have different manufacturers even within the Alien lines. And so we want to make sure that we differentiate Alpoa. So that would be the Scout, now the SAN'TALK.YALL, and any future Alpoa ships.
But we already have a cockpit. Why aren't you just using what's there? I guess they didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like it personally. And if you could see, there's a lot in front of the character here and not a lot in front of the character here. I don't know what they're going for. I don't know what the idea is, but yeah, we'll see. I wonder what the issue was. If they were really being open and honest, I mean, maybe they would have shown the not good version and then the good version, but
any other Xi'an manufacturers that we might be working on. So this will help us establish that look and feel for the dashboard specifically, and we will want to retroactively then add that to the Scout as well.
Name another company that casually discusses failing internal reviews. Go ahead. I'll wait. Assuming.
Is that a good thing? Are we supposed to applaud you for that? These are the things that do confuse me a little bit. Is why is that a good thing? Why is that? I'm not giving any applause to doing video content in a way that isn't showing the video game. It's such a weird take about this whole thing. I think Jared's very proud of what he's built, and he should be. But I've never understood the deeper look into game development at times when I would say a majority of the people who are looking for these videos are not looking for this kind of content, right? Nobody cares why it failed. They just want their ship they bought. You know what I mean? Would be my guess. So yeah, let's all clap for them sharing this when the intention was obviously to share something else and they didn't have it.
Of course, that this episode even airs. At least it's honest.
It's always awkward. Every single time.
Yeah, at least it's honest. I agree.
So, besides having to figure out a new dashboard,
It's weird, but I'm not gonna
everything
applaud
else
you
is
for
going
it.
well. What do you like so far about the SAN'TALK.YALL?
I like the aesthetics and the way that we've kind of made the wings and the thrusters work, because the thrusters with the Fury, we actually got working thrusters where they actually spin forward and they retro with the actual main thrusters. So I was getting to mess around with the thrusters and how they worked and tuning them and trying to figure out how far can I take this? Can I make them go every single angle under the sun, or should I be restricting it? Should I change it so when it's in landed mode and it's in the more compact mode, should they still be able to go in every sort of direction, or should I restrict that more? So I was just like getting to mess around with that was pretty fun for me.
I think the thing that I'm having the most fun with at the moment is how far we're really pushing the anti-grav tech that Xi'an have. So that's a common thing. That's going to be a common feature across all Xi'an ships, regardless of manufacturer. We've sort of identified that as a core pillar of Xi'an technology. And so regardless of manufacturer, they will all have that. And then there's a couple of other things that we need some engineering support to do, but will really sort of bring the asset to life in an interesting way. We're hoping to get a lot more movement on the wings as the ship kind of moves around. So just the basic idea of making the vehicle feel like a living, breathing creature as a whole. That's the thing that's like super fun. But it's hard, man. You know, we need a lot of support to get that working. And if we can get it done, though, I think Alpo is going to be a very unique manufacturer, because I think it's going to feel very different than everything else.
I feel like if you were being honest and open from CIG's perspective, is the idea of who, if I feel like I'm missing something here and that I would have wanted to know, it would specifically be, what did you need support on? Who were they? And what were they working on? Are they on Squadron 42? You know?
We have.
Why didn't you get this done?
Also, there's a lot of times there are things that I think are very easy to do, and then I'll speak to an engineer and they're like,
because if this ship was in game yesterday, the launch of Alien Week, the launch of 319.1 Live, new ship, like that, all of a sudden, boring Alien Week is no longer boring, right? You have a medium to heavy fighter. I can't remember. I think this is medium. Basically, a whole new experience for everyone to check out. And I'm not that big into ships. Medium, thank you. And I'm not big into ships. As you can tell, I didn't even know if it was medium or heavy. But a lot of people are, and that would have had some excitement, and I think it would have probably helped out their ship sales. Now, like I've stated a few times now, Starfield things comes out. I bet you people in this month or in this pay period are saying, I'd rather invest in pre-ordering Starfield or something like that than
actually,
buying an Alien
that's
ship.
fundamentally different than the way ships work. And I'm like, oh crap, okay, well, I guess I got to figure out another way to do it. The most fun part, honestly, about the SAN'TALK.YALL just in general is we are trying a lot of new things. So we're stepping into areas that we haven't done before. And so there's a lot of risk involved with failing, essentially, where it's like, okay, we might try something and either it doesn't turn out well, or internally people don't like the way it looks, or we can't actually do it. Like, there's so many of those questions at every turn with the SAN'TALK.YALL, but we've been creeping forward, and overall the asset is looking awesome.
Yeah, cool.
I'm just hoping we can cross that finish line to like the full vision that I have.
I believe in you, Elwin. Thanks for your time. So yeah, that's a look at the current progress of the SAN'TALK.YALL working its way through the ship pipeline for an intended release later this year. And while we've got the ship team on the phone, let's see if we can get an update on a ship that's finally making its long-awaited debut in the upcoming Alpha 320, the Hull C from Musashi Industrial. Hey, John Crew, are you there?
Before we go into this, I talked about this in my roadmap reaction yesterday. There is nothing in the cards outside of this ship in 320. How does this work?
Hello.
Without major changes
I'm good,
to
thanks. How are you?
Good.
Everything.
The Hull C.
Yep.
This thing's been in development for a while. What's been going on, man?
Oh, you'll see. Okay.
How long have you got?
Try to keep it under 2 minutes.
Okay. Hull C, for those that don't know, is like the big 18-wheeler of the Star Citizen universe, designed for transporting bulk cargo.
Are those 1SCUs? No. Okay. Does that confirm that that change is in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 per? 8 SCU? No. Can't tell because the ship is so big. $32s? Yeah, that's what I figured they would be. Okay.
Around the
Oh, hold
stations and between solar systems. We started it, I want to say 5+ years ago. We got so far on the art and design side, probably early grey box. And then the sheer amount of technical challenges with this ship became apparent. We put a pause to it, thought we'll come back. The teams that need to help us have more important things to do at that point in time. There was object container streaming going on, so we're like, that's more important, we'll sort that out, we'll come back to it. And the last year or so, we've come back to it and had to deal with all those big technical challenges for the ship.
And how's it doing today? What can folks expect?
You can expect the ship working as we intended it to be when it was concepted. So it's quite a unique ship in the game. There's a lot of moving parts, literally, on it.
Hell, I can't
and
wait
some
to
tech
walk
in there
down the
that
spline.
you've never seen before in any ships. So primarily the hurdles revolved around that central spindle section that you can walk through whilst it's doing those animated states.
Wait, rewind for tractor beam. Where? I didn't see it.
We've
I'll check it
essentially
at the
got
end.
2 parts of the ship that move independent, or they're animated together, but they're independent parts of the ship, and a new way of loading cargo onto the ship.
Whoa!
I want to talk to you about that. So one of the big questions since this thing was first introduced is how the cargo loading and unloading is going to work in Alpha 320. Who can tell us about that?
I think we can probably get Chris Tanks on the line.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, Jared. Excuse me. Hi.
Hi, Chris. Thanks.
Hi, Jared.
So how does cargo work for the Hull C in Alpha 320?
So in Alpha 320, the Hull C behaves as we expect it to. When it's extended, when its cargo arms are out, it can't land. So it can't take cargo in the normal sense that any other ship that takes cargo does while it's landed.
Okay.
So you go to your cargo terminal, you buy as much cargo as you want, you set it to the Hull C, but the system recognizes that it can't spawn the cargo while the ship is landed. So you get in your ship, you fly it out of the hangar, and then contact ACC again. That is when the ship realizes, oh, I'm out of the landing zone now.
Oh, there was a cargo. This is what they're working on? Oh my God, this is so band-aided, and I love it. It's obviously a band-aid, and I think we would love to see the cargo decks like work properly, but I'll take the band-aid all day.
Realizes,
Awesome.
oh, I'm out of the landing zone now. I'm ready to take some cargo. So you
Oh
extend
my
it,
God.
contact the ATC, and the cargo will spawn on your ship then.
Does this thing
Oh, timer? Also, what? Okay, again, huge thing here. This only works. Don't get too excited, everybody. Do you notice the color of the boxes? They're brown. That's waste or scrap. Okay? Those are bad boxes. It's not big money necessarily, right? And if many people will know that trading between stations isn't really a thing at the current time. So that's sort of what I was talking about with the roadmap, is there's no card in economy fixes. So we're never going to know until you see 320 in Evocati or in your first PTU that shares what changes they made to what is bought and what is sold between stations, because you cannot bring this thing to a landing zone. I can't take this. Like, what are the typical trades in Star Citizen right now? They're outpost to major city. for the most part, or outpost to outpost too. But you know, a lot of the big trades end at a Hurston, at a Microtech, something like that. You don't do that with this ship. So what do you do if these things don't exist? There's so much unknown here that needs to be communicated throughout the 320 cycle that I am very interested. Orison could work. Very good point, Hukel. I didn't even think of that. Orison can definitely work, but nowhere else could. We think each SCU container is 32. That's not really an assumption. I think people did the math as well, because I did see an insane number of how much SCU is in this thing. But that's my big, not concern, just excitement, is they are showing it in the way that I wouldn't necessarily want to do trade. I'm not really interested in trading scrap from one station to another. It doesn't really make sense. But what will we trade? How is that going to be interesting? Will it be interesting, or is it just a first pass on the whole sea? And then we'll see more updates later. 320 is such an unknown.
And the cargo will spawn on your ship then.
Does this thing fit in any hangars?
While it's collapsed, it'll fit in the large spec hangars. When it's extended, it doesn't fit in any hangar we have at the moment.
You can dock it though.
It can be docked at any station.
Has anybody tried to dock it when it's fully extended?
I'm so sorry for this pause, but I'm going to leave it because it's too fucking perfect. All right, I'm so sorry. We're going to scroll back to the dock. Okay? I'm so sorry. Why aren't we doing the cargo here? Weird, right? We should have the cargo. I can't. We should have the cargo here. Why do we go to that weird place? Also, another thing of note is there are armistice zones at these locations, but they're soft armistice zones. This is not going to be a good experience for a lot of people. And a lot of people are going to do exactly what's on the screen right now. I'm going to move my camera. There is one person inside this vehicle. People are going to be solo hull seeing. And the thing is that pirating these things is going to be insanely easy based off of everything I just saw. So what will CIG do to prevent the piracy at these locations? I guess tractor beams won't be used out in space necessarily, but this looks like a very pirate-friendly ship at the moment from everything I'm seeing.
I mean, you would hit the extent of the cargo long before your landing gear touched the ground. It would not be pretty. Well, I mean, somebody will have done it, and it will have been a magnificent explosion.
See, those are yellow, though.
I wouldn't recommend it.
All right, so we've been looking at
What are the yellow cargo boxes? I'm not familiar with those.
images of the new Hull C. It looks fantastic. Which one of you is going to talk about how it looks?
Probably Ben.
You don't have Ben back here, do you?
Really, guys?
Hello. Take a seat, Ben.
Hello, Jared. How are you?
There's no way they're letting me do this with the episode ever again.
That energy is literally my wife. Everything that just happened there was Emmy energy.
Ben,
She just walks into the room. Hello.
talk us through it. The Hull C looks great. It's been a while getting there.
Yep.
Tell us about it.
So as John mentioned, it's been in development for a while. We kind of stepped on it and stepped off it, depending on what tech we needed. I think, in our game we talk a lot about kind of gold standard, but really with the Hull C, it's kind of like current standard. So what we want to do is make sure that when we release the ship visually, it ticked all of our kind of current processes, and it kind of really was on par with everything else that we put out now compared to where it was kind of back in the day.
Looks very MISC. I love it.
I think some of the other kind of updates we've had to do to kind of maintain it over the years is just the kind of like the simple things like we now have a lot more interaction in the ships, which we never had back when it was first started. So making sure all the panels are accessible and open and close and animate, making sure the dashboard's all interactive and all those fun things that everyone's used to now.
What are some of your favorite parts? What are things that people should look out for visually?
I think, to be honest, I'm the ship is a very industrial ship, and it really kind of feels that way. There's some like little things that
Very concerning. Another huge concern. Tractor beam was just shown. They showed it for a millisecond, and there is no card for vehicle tractor beams on 320. Scary.
I just love, like the main kind of airlock entrance into the ship feels really big and chunky and strong, which I think is needed on something so industrial. And that kind of industrial language kind of flows throughout the ship.
Oh,
I think my kind of main favorite place is engineering in the rear. The whole rear of the ship is kind of dedicated to really encompassing that idea that you are on a big workhorse. There's big engines, there's massive pipes. It feels really kind of like nice and moody and a little bit dangerous. And I think that's kind of really helps sell what's going on the outside of the ship.
Dude, this thing is huge.
Well, that all sounds great. So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that the SAN'TALK.YALL is still making its way through the ship pipeline for an intended release later this year. What are you doing? That the whole sea looks great, and it's intended to arrive in the upcoming Alpha 320 with modified cargo loading and unloading. That inviting people into your ship and calling people for an interview less than an hour after they failed their go-no-go is either the best thing or the worst thing that you can do, depending on your point of view. And that it's Alien Week, and you should
it's a whatever thing. It doesn't really matter.
check out the robertspaceindustriescom website and socials for all the various promotions, activities, and contests that usually go along with it. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee with Chris, John, and Ben. Thanks for exploring the process of game development with us, and we'll see you all here next week. Almost certainly back to the regular format.
I mean, why? I mean, who liked the format? I like this format. There's nothing wrong with this format. I thought it was really good, actually. I thought it was really good, to be perfectly honest with you. People who aren't in the office, calling and talking to them and having that candid information, I thought was really good. And then having the guys in the office hang out in the same there. If I was to give feedback on this episode, one of the best episodes they've ever done in terms of feel. I thought it just felt really natural and good, except for the end. Like Jared obviously told them to be weird there, but other than that is whatever. But obviously there's something here at the end.
So, I'm just gonna get going.
Cheers, Sarah.
Bye.
Bye.
He's still there? What?
That's it? Damn.
Okay. That was weird. I don't know. I think it was a really good episode. I think there are so many questions. There are not many questions around the whole sea, but there are many questions of cargo-related changes with 320 and the whole sea. And also, so the SCU is 4,608. It is not 9,000 or something. I saw 9,000 on Twitter. That was like the only thing I saw from this episode, and I missed that actually in this react. But I guess it's confirmed to have 4,000. Still, almost 7 times what we have now, which is insane. And aside from that, the only other things are, I mean, whatever, SAN'TALK.YALL failed its review. Not really that big of a deal. I mean, thank you for sharing. I just wouldn't really concern myself too much with it, to be perfectly honest, in terms of if I bought the ship, let me know when I can fly it. And I don't think they gave too much detail as to why it failed, and maybe they weren't, didn't want to show something that was not going to come through, which is totally fine. So whatever. It is what it is. We have so many fighters. I particularly don't care, but then, you show me the whole sea and I'm super excited. So I know somebody is just as excited for the SAN'TALK.YALL as I am for the whole sea. So I think it was an episode that probably reached everybody and told everybody where we stand for the most part with everything outside of cargo. And I thought it was a good episode.